Most people miss these 7 signs until it's too late. Don't be one of them. Has someone you love started showing small but concerning changes lately? Many people assume death happens suddenly in old age, but the truth is the body often gives quiet warnings, sometimes a year in advance. The problem? These signs are easy to miss until it's too late. In this video, we'll walk through 7 crucial signs that may indicate an elderly loved one is approaching their final year, so you can prepare, support, and cherish every remaining moment. Talking about the end of life is never easy. It is one of those subjects we tend to push aside, hoping we will not have to face it anytime soon. But when someone we love starts changing in ways we do not fully understand, ignoring the signs does not make them go away. In fact, recognizing them early can be the key to providing comfort, support, and dignity in their final months. Aging is not just about getting slower, weaker, or more forgetful. There's a point where the body begins a deeper transition, a gradual shutdown that can start long before death actually occurs. Most people assume death happens suddenly, but more often than not, the body gives us clues well in advance. The problem is, those clues can be subtle, easy to dismiss, or mistaken for normal aging. That is why it is so important to know what to look for. No single symptom confirms that someone has only a year left, but when multiple signs appear together, they paint a clearer picture of what is happening. Families who recognize these signs ahead of time are better prepared, not just medically, but emotionally. They can make the most of the time they have left, rather than looking back with regret, realizing they missed the warnings. Some of these signs may seem obvious, while others are easy to overlook. That is why I encourage you to watch this video until the end. The last few signs are the ones people tend to miss the most, yet they're often the clearest indicators that time is running short. Understanding them now will help you ensure that your loved one's final chapter is filled with peace, comfort, and meaningful moments. Number 7. Unexplained weight loss. Weight loss in the elderly is often dismissed as a normal part of aging, but in many cases, it is a warning sign that something deeper is happening. When an elderly person loses weight without trying, it is usually because their body is no longer absorbing nutrients properly, their metabolism is slowing down, or they have lost their appetite altogether. This is not just about appearance. It is a signal that the body is struggling to sustain itself. There are several reasons why an elderly person might start losing weight rapidly. One of the most common is that the digestive system becomes less efficient over time. The body does not absorb vitamins and minerals the way it once did, which leads to muscle loss and general weakness. Appetite also tends to decline as the body slows down. The brain may no longer send the same hunger signals it used to, making food seem unappealing or unnecessary. In some cases, underlying medical conditions like cancer, kidney disease, or heart failure contribute to unexplained weight loss, even before other symptoms become noticeable. How to recognize it? Families often notice weight loss when an elderly loved one's clothes start fitting looser or they need to tighten their belt more frequently. Sometimes it is as subtle as seeing someone push food around their plate instead of eating it. If they stop enjoying meals, frequently say they are not hungry, or seem disinterested in food they once loved, these could be signs that their body is entering a final stage of decline. The emotional toll. For many elderly individuals, weight loss is not just physical, it is emotional. Losing weight rapidly often comes with fatigue, weakness, and a loss of independence. Someone who once cooked for themselves may no longer have the energy to prepare meals. They might avoid eating because it takes too much effort to chew and swallow. Over time, this can lead to frustration, sadness, and even depression. They may feel like a burden, knowing that their loved ones are worried about their declining health. What families can do. The instinct for most families is to encourage their loved one to eat more, often by offering larger portions or favorite meals. While this comes from a place of love, it is not always helpful. Forcing food can cause discomfort and make the person feel pressured. Instead, focus on nutrient-dense, easy-to-eat foods. Soft foods like yogurt, mashed potatoes, and soups are easier to consume. High-protein drinks, smoothies, or small snacks throughout the day can be more manageable than large meals. Hydration is just as important. Many elderly individuals drink less because they do not feel as thirsty, which can lead to dehydration and further weakness. Offering small sips of water, herbal teas, or electrolyte drinks can help keep them comfortable. If unexplained weight loss continues despite these efforts, it is a sign that the body is shifting into a new phase. At this stage, the priority should not be weight gain. It should be comfort, dignity, and ensuring mealtimes remain a positive experience. Number 6. Persistent fatigue and weakness. Fatigue in the elderly is more than just feeling tired. It is a deep, unshakable exhaustion that does not go away, no matter how much rest they get. It is one of the clearest signs that the body is slowing down. Many families assume that their loved one simply needs more sleep or encouragement to stay active. But when fatigue becomes overwhelming, it is often the body's way of conserving its remaining energy. Why it happens? As a person enters their final year, organ function starts to slow. The heart does not pump as efficiently, circulation weakens, and oxygen does not reach the muscles and brain the way it once did. The body, recognizing that it has limited energy, starts prioritizing only essential functions. Movement, digestion, and even conversation become secondary to survival. This is why an elderly person in decline may struggle with basic tasks that once felt effortless. Metabolism also slows down, reducing the body's ability to generate energy. Many seniors begin sleeping more during the day, taking longer naps, or feeling drained even after minor exertion. Number 5. Cognitive decline and emotional withdrawal. Many people assume that forgetfulness is just part of getting older, but when memory loss worsens suddenly or a loved one starts acting confused in familiar situations, it may be a sign of something more serious. Cognitive decline in the final year of life is often subtle at first. Losing track of conversations, repeating the same questions, or struggling to recall recent events. Over time, these changes can become more pronounced, leaving families wondering what happened to the person they once knew. Why it happens? As circulation weakens, the brain receives less oxygen and fewer nutrients, causing slow but noticeable changes in cognitive function. Thinking becomes harder, decision-making feels overwhelming, and once familiar faces or places may seem unfamiliar. The person may drift in and out of clarity, sometimes seeming completely present, and at other times appearing lost or confused. Another reason for cognitive decline is the brain's response to the body's weakening state. As the body prepares for its final stage, certain brain functions start shutting down. This can lead to moments of deep confusion, forgetfulness, or even hallucinations. For families, it can be heartbreaking to witness a loved one struggle to stay engaged in reality. One of the first signs is difficulty remembering names, even of close family members. They might forget where they are, mix up dates, or lose track of conversations mid-sentence. You may notice them pausing more often, searching for words, or seeming unsure what they were just talking about. In some cases, they may no longer recognize places that were once familiar, like their own home or neighborhood. Physical disorientation can also occur. Some seniors get lost walking to the kitchen or forget why they stood up in the first place. Others may start reversing day and night, staying awake at odd hours and sleeping more during the day. Emotional withdrawal. Beyond memory loss, many elderly individuals begin pulling away from conversations, hobbies, and even relationships. It is not because they do not care. It is because keeping up with interactions takes more effort than they can manage. You may notice them speaking less, spending more time sitting in silence, or avoiding social gatherings that once brought them joy. Loud environments may become overwhelming, and they might seem detached or indifferent to things that used to matter. In some cases, they might become easily irritated or anxious, lashing out in frustration when they cannot express what they are thinking. Best approach. It can be tempting to correct them when they mix up facts or forget something important, but constantly pointing out mistakes often causes frustration. Instead of focusing on what they are forgetting, focus on making them feel safe. If they forget your name, remind them gently and move on. If they're confused about what day it is, do not force them to remember. Just reassure them they are okay. What matters most is not forcing clarity, but offering comfort in the moments they are still present. Number 4, frequent infections and slow healing. When an elderly person starts getting sick more often, it is not just bad luck. It is often a sign that their immune system is weakening. Minor illnesses that they once shook off easily may start lasting longer, and small cuts or bruises may take weeks to heal instead of days. This decline in the body's ability to recover is a major warning sign that their overall health is deteriorating. As we age, the immune system naturally weakens. In the final stage of life, the body prioritizes vital functions, leaving less energy to fight off infections. White blood cell production slows, making it harder to battle bacteria and viruses. At the same time, circulation decreases, meaning oxygen and nutrients do not reach wounds as effectively, slowing down the healing process. This is why an elderly person who rarely got sick before may suddenly be dealing with one infection after another. Something as simple as a mild cold can linger for weeks, and what used to be a small scrape can turn into a stubborn sore that refuses to heal. Signs to look for. One of the biggest red flags is frequent infections. You might notice they develop colds more often, experience multiple urinary tract infections, UTIs, or struggle with pneumonia. If they are in a care facility, they may be more vulnerable to outbreaks of flu or other contagious illnesses. Another sign is slow healing. Small wounds, scratches, or bruises that once faded quickly may remain visible for weeks. Skin infections, bed sores, or unexplained rashes can also develop, especially in individuals who are less mobile. Infections in the elderly do not always show up the way you would expect. Instead of running a high fever, they may simply seem more tired than usual, confused, or uninterested in eating. Sudden cognitive decline can sometimes be the first sign of an infection, long before any physical symptoms appear. What this means, when infections become frequent and healing slows, is a clear sign that the body is losing its ability to defend and repair itself. At this stage, aggressive medical treatments like multiple rounds of antibiotics or hospital stays may do more harm than good. Many elderly individuals feel even weaker after repeated hospitalizations, and excessive medical intervention can sometimes prolong discomfort rather than improve quality of life. How to help? Instead of focusing on curing every illness, the goal should shift toward comfort and symptom relief. Keep their environment clean and free of potential sources of infection. Ensure they're drinking enough fluids and eating nourishing foods to support their body as much as possible. For slow healing wounds, keeping the skin clean and moisturized can prevent complications. If they are bedridden, regular repositioning can help prevent pressure sores. Most importantly, be present. Offer reassurance and gentle care. At this stage, the focus should not be on fighting every illness, but on ensuring they feel comfortable, supported, and at peace in the time they have left. Number 3, major changes in breathing and circulation. As the body reaches its final stage, one of the most noticeable changes is how a person breathes. Breathing patterns often become irregular, and circulation slows, leading to cold hands and feet, pale or bluish skin, and episodes of breathlessness. These changes are some of the clearest indicators that the heart and lungs are no longer functioning as efficiently as they once did in the final months or weeks of life. The heart weakens, making it harder to pump blood effectively. With reduced circulation, oxygen is not delivered to the extremities as well as before, causing hands, feet, and even facial features to feel cold or appear discolored. At the same time, lung function declines, making breathing more labored. The body begins prioritizing essential functions, which means less oxygen is available for muscles and organs that once worked effortlessly. These changes are not sudden, but tend to develop gradually. At first, a person may get winded walking across a room. Over time, even sitting up or speaking can leave them breathless. Some may experience periods of rapid breathing followed by long pauses, a pattern known as Cheyne-Stokes respiration. This is a natural part of the body shutting down, but can be distressing for families to witness. Signs to notice: gasping for air after small movements. Simple actions like sitting up or turning in bed may cause shortness of breath. Long pauses between breaths. Breathing may become uneven, sometimes speeding up and slowing down unpredictably. Cold hands and feet, even in a warm room. Poor circulation reduces blood flow to the extremities, causing a noticeable drop in temperature. Bluish or pale skin. This is especially common in the fingers, toes, and lips, indicating a lack of oxygen. Emotional and physical impact. Struggling to breathe can be frightening, even if the person is not fully aware of what is happening. Some may panic or become anxious when they feel like they cannot catch their breath. Others may become more withdrawn, avoiding conversation because talking feels exhausting. It is not uncommon for an elderly person in this stage to prefer sitting up or leaning forward, as lying flat can make breathing more difficult. For families, seeing a loved one struggle with breathlessness can be overwhelming. It is natural to want to help, to encourage deep breaths or call for medical intervention. But in many cases, these changes are simply part of the body's natural transition. The best approach is to focus on comfort rather than trying to fix the symptoms. How to respond: adjust their sleeping position. Propping them up with pillows can help ease breathing. Use a humidifier. Dry air can make breathing more difficult, so keeping the air moist can help. Keep the room cool and well ventilated. Fresh air can make them feel more comfortable. Offer gentle reassurance. A calm presence can ease anxiety and provide comfort. At this stage, the goal is not to force normal breathing, but to create an environment where they feel as comfortable and at peace as possible. Number 2, loss of interest in food and drink. One of the most difficult changes for families to accept is when an elderly loved one stops eating and drinking. For many, food is not just nourishment. It is an expression of love, a way to care for others. So when someone begins refusing meals or barely eats a few bites, it can feel alarming. But in the final months of life, this is natural. The body no longer needs as much fuel, and hunger signals fade as the digestive system slows down. As the body begins its final stage, digestion becomes less of a priority. The stomach and intestines slow, making it harder to process food. The brain also stops sending the same hunger and thirst cues it once did. Many seniors no longer feel the need to eat or drink, even if they have not had much all day. Swallowing may become more difficult, making mealtimes feel like more of a struggle than a pleasure. This is not necessarily a sign of suffering. In many cases, the body is shutting down in a way that feels natural and painless. Forcing food when someone no longer wants it can actually make them feel worse, causing nausea, bloating, or discomfort. What this looks like: skipping meals or barely eating. They may take just a few bites and push their plate away. Drinking less water. Thirst signals decrease, leading to fewer sips throughout the day. Difficulty swallowing. Some may struggle with solid foods or even liquids, coughing or choking more frequently. Loss of interest in favorite foods. Even meals they once loved may no longer appeal to them. What not to do? Many families instinctively try to encourage eating by offering favorite foods, pleading with them to just eat a little more, or even attempting to spoon-feed them. While this comes from a place of love, forcing food can do more harm than good. If the digestive system is slowing down, eating more than the body can handle may cause bloating, stomach pain, or even choking. Another common mistake is worrying too much about calorie intake. When someone is near the end of life, weight loss is not the problem to solve. The focus should shift from nutrition to comfort. What to do instead? Offer small portions. A few bites of something they enjoy is better than a full plate that overwhelms them. Focus on hydration. If they struggle to drink water, offer small sips of juice, broth, or ice chips. Make meal times stress-free. Sit with them, talk to them, and create a calm environment instead of pressuring them to eat. Adjust food texture. If swallowing is an issue, try softer foods like yogurt, pudding, or smoothies. At this stage, meals should not feel like an obligation. They should be about warmth, comfort, and sharing moments together. The best thing you can do is meet them where they are, without expectations and let them guide their own needs. Number 1. Increased sleeping and unresponsiveness. As the body prepares for its final stage, one of the most noticeable changes is a dramatic increase in sleep. Your loved one may begin sleeping most of the day, becoming less responsive, and showing little interest in conversations or surroundings. At first, this may happen gradually. Longer naps, difficulty staying awake, or a tendency to drift off mid-conversation. Eventually, they may spend most of their time asleep, waking only briefly before slipping back into rest. What to expect? More daytime naps. They may doze off frequently, even in the middle of activities. Difficulty waking up. It may take several attempts to rouse them, and even when they do wake, they might seem groggy or disoriented. Less interest in conversations or surroundings. They may no longer react to visitors, the television, or even familiar voices the way they used to. The body is shutting down, and its energy is being directed toward only the most essential functions. With circulation slowing and oxygen levels decreasing, the brain and muscles no longer have the stamina to stay alert. Movement, thinking, and even speaking become exhausting. The body's natural response is to sleep more as a way of conserving energy. It is important to understand that this is not suffering. Many people assume their loved one is giving up or slipping into depression, but this increased sleep is part of the body's natural transition. It is not something to fight or fix. It is something to allow with patience and compassion. The emotional response. For families, this stage can feel deeply painful. It often feels like you're losing them before they are actually gone. A loved one who once engaged in conversation and shared memories may now barely acknowledge visitors. It is natural to want to wake them, keep them talking, or bring them back to the present. But in most cases, their need for rest will outweigh their ability to interact. Some families mistake unresponsiveness for unconsciousness, but in many cases, the person is still aware on some level. Even if they do not speak, they may still hear you. They may recognize familiar voices, feel your touch, or sense the presence of loved ones around them. How to provide comfort. Speak to them gently. Even if they do not respond, they may still find comfort in the sound of your voice. Play soothing music. Soft, familiar music can be calming and help create a peaceful atmosphere. Hold their hand or offer gentle touch. Physical presence can be reassuring, even if they do not acknowledge it. Avoid trying to wake them unnecessarily. If they're sleeping, let them rest. Waking them repeatedly can cause agitation. At this stage, your presence matters more than your words. Sitting quietly with them, holding their hand, or simply being there is often the greatest comfort you can provide. This is a time for peace, not pressure, and a reminder that love does not always need words. Recognizing these 7 signs isn't about fearing death. It's about preparing for it with compassion and awareness. If you've noticed some of these signs in a loved one, take this as an opportunity to cherish every moment, provide comfort, and prioritize dignity. Don't focus on trying to fix things. Focus on making their time meaningful. If this video helped you, let us know in the comments, subscribe for more insights, and most importantly, be there for those you love. Many people assume their loved one is giving up or slipping into depression, but this increased sleep is part of the body's natural transition. It is not something to fight or fix. It is something to allow with patience and compassion. The emotional response. For families, this stage can feel deeply painful. It often feels like you're losing them before they are actually gone. A loved one who once engaged in conversation and shared memories may now barely acknowledge visitors. It is natural to want to wake them, keep them talking, or bring them back to the present. But in most cases, their need for rest will outweigh their ability to interact. Some families mistake unresponsiveness for unconsciousness, but in many cases, the person is still aware on some level. Even if they do not speak, they may still hear you. They may recognize familiar voices, feel your touch, or sense the presence of loved ones around them. How to provide comfort. Speak to them gently. Even if they do not respond, they may still find comfort in the sound of your voice. Play soothing music. Soft, Familiar music can be calming and help create a peaceful atmosphere. Hold their hand or offer gentle touch. Physical presence can be reassuring, even if they do not acknowledge it. Avoid trying to wake them unnecessarily. If they're sleeping, let them rest. Waking them repeatedly can cause agitation. At this stage, your presence matters more than your words. Sitting quietly with them, holding their hand, or simply being there is often the greatest comfort you can provide. This is a time for peace, not pressure, and a reminder that love does not always need words. Recognizing these 7 signs isn't about fearing death. It's about preparing for it with compassion and awareness. If you've noticed some of these signs in a loved one, take this as an opportunity to cherish every moment, provide comfort, and prioritize dignity. Don't focus on trying to fix things. Focus on making their time meaningful. If this video helped you, let us know in the comments, subscribe for more insights, and most importantly, be there for those you love.